important to keep in mind that vast majority of Black individuals have been voting Democrat since 1936. And since 1936, the Black community is still not satisfied or pleased with what has been going on within a political realm. What does that say? One thing that I've always been taught is that change does not come in comfortability. I'm gonna say it again. And I'm gonna check to see if this thing is on so that people in the back can hear. Change does not come in comfortability. Does that mean to run to the right and just give them your vote out of frustration from the left? No, what I'm saying is hold value in your vote. Do not allow the public media or anybody for that matter to gaslight you into voting left, because if you don't, you are either less Black or you don't value the rights that you currently have.
Man, oh man, the ship is definitely leaking oil for the Democrats, because now you have scores of young, foundational Black Americans that's coming out and they beginning to question the Democratic Party. And they're saying, if Donald Trump can do all the things that he's done in the last year and a half and sign all these executive orders and get all this stuff done, why does it take 1,000 years for Democrats to get anything done? And they keep telling you, you got to wait for this, you got to wait for that. It took 100 years for them to get the anti-lynching bills passed. When the Dyer anti-lynching bill came out in 1922, they could never get that passed, right? They didn't get the John Lewis bill passed. Like, they don't get nothing. There's so many things that's supposed to be for the Black community that get stonewalled, right? And we watched Donald Trump just come in, start redistricting, getting federal judges in there, right? Conservative Supreme Court justices. He come in, man, he taking care of his people right away. Boom, getting it done, live, stock, and barrel. All of a sudden, the young people's asking, well, wait a minute. We not our grandparents. I'm not waiting 1,000 years. What are y'all talking about? We got to always wait for this while we watching you prioritize everybody else over the community. So they're starting to call this stuff out.
There's a clear choice that the American people are going to be asked to confront over the next several months. Do you want an affordable country that Democrats are fighting hard to bring about? Or do you want a country that solely is benefiting the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected? Do you want a country that brings people together, which is what we are committed to doing, or a country where Republicans are continuing to tear us apart? Do you want to move America forward, or do you want to turn back the clock? That's the choice that the American people are confronting. And Democrats remain committed to driving down the high cost of living, to fixing our broken healthcare system, to getting ICE under control, to ending this reckless and costly war of choice in the Middle East, and to cleaning up corruption wherever it's found, in the Congress, in the White House, and certainly across the street in the United States Supreme Court. Democrats are going to fight hard to make your life better.
So the Democratic strategy of selling fear to Black Americans is no longer working. See, they like to sell fear or bring out bills when they know that they don't have the House, where things are not going to get passed, and they'll blame it on the Republicans and call it racism. We have to fight racism, vote or die. We have to do. They always got you under some stress, so you got to vote, right? This whole thing is crazy. This whole thing is crazy. And then when they got the House, so they control the majority of seats, they don't go past things for the community. They prioritize other things over the community. This is what they've done historically. It shows this, right? So now Donald Trump comes right in with one swoop. He's just redistricting, right? Why didn't they take the same approach they doing with these kids in these FCC schools when they couldn't get the John Lewis bill passed? Why didn't they take this same approach? Well, now young people are talking like this.
But not one thing that he just taught everybody, yeah, including you too, Black girl, including all y'all, everybody who don't like the man, right? One thing that we all can learn from him, right, is that if the Blue Party wanted to do anything for y'all, they would have done it. You got to pay attention. The man not finna get up here and give y'all 100 literal speeches. But if you pay attention to his actions, the stuff that he do, he's literally showing y'all, if y'all would just stop and just think for a second, he's literally showing y'all how they was playing in y'all goddamn face. He done all of it in 2 years. And the Blue Party has been in a chair 12 years and they do Black American community, but keep using their Trump. DEI wasn't even for us. That was for immigrants. That was for people of the rainbow community. That was not for Black Americans. But guess who they always use for vote? Black Americans. If that man didn't show y'all anything, he showed y'all that if they wanted to do it, they would have done it. He's showing y'all how they was playing in y'all face. Soon as they got in the chair, they have gotten so done, I can't even think of it.
Black people are waking up. We're waking up. We're seeing how the Democratic Party has profited off of the backs, the votes, and the support of Black people this whole time. And for what? We have nothing to show for it. Nothing. So with that being said, Black people want you to question everything. Every policy, every stance, every position. Because why? We're not supposed to be used by these people. Everything is not racist. Everything is not to keep you down. And everything is not so you can be a victim. You're smart, you're intelligent, you have a mind. Use it. Don't just go with the crowd just because that's what they're doing. I'm telling you, it's all a setup. But Black people are waking up. They're leaving the Democratic Party. And I'm so happy because when someone sits in your face and says, you have no other choice but to vote for me because you're Black, you should be offended. And that's an insult to your intelligence. What a freaking concept.
As a Black person who lives in America, I really hate Donald Trump. But that does not automatically mean I love Democrats. For the most part, I actually hate the Democratic Party. Back in the summer of 2024, you saw in the news a Muslim man was running for the mayor of New York. This Muslim man was in a very bad spot. Republicans, they hated him. Racist people, they hated him. Rich people, they hated him. Even though this guy was getting a lot of hate online, it was clear people in New York worked him. This guy wanted to make people afford their rent. He said he wanted to make it so landlords could not keep raising their prices. He wanted to make groceries and travel more affordable. This man made it very clear that he did not support what was going on in the Middle East. This is an issue a lot of Democrats, people on the left, care about. But during this time, the Democratic Party showed him no support. This random Muslim man was a nobody to most people in America. In just one summer, he became a household name in the world of politics. This was no longer just some random guy, he was now becoming Zohran Mamdani, a Democrat who actually understood what people care for. Despite all this, the Democratic Party showed him zero love. This guy right here, his name is Hakeem Jeffries. He is the House Democrat leader. He has a lot of power in the party. It took all the way until October 24th for him to formally endorse Mamdani. The very next day on October 25th, early day voting began. This is why nobody likes Democrats. They don't do anything, and when they try, it's too late.
Now this whole thing is crazy because they're saying that they're losing Black representation with all this redistricting. So the NAACP is asking young Black boys to come in and save the day. Right? Swoop in, save the day. Don't go to these schools, knock out the economic purse strings. And the young people are saying, what? First of all, I don't even know who y'all are. You want me to save old people's seats who's done nothing for Black Memphis, Black Chicago, Black Philadelphia, right? Black Houston. We've been gentrified out of our communities, right? There's so many, the murder rate was just sky high. It's coming down now, but man, listen, we got so many things that's piling up against us in our communities, and we've been voting Democrats only to get nothing, right? So people are not listening to this.
This is an unprecedented moment featuring an unprecedented attack on Black political representation, and therefore it requires an unprecedented response.
That's right.
We are here standing in solidarity with the NAACP and its call for athletes to boycott institutions within the SEC that belong to states that have unleashed these Jim Crow-like racially oppressive tactics. which is unacceptable, unconscionable, and un-American. And we believe that the silence of these institutions is complicity. That's right. And we will not stand for it.
This fool just got up there and said that these tactics are un-American. How are they not? How are they un-American? This is the American way. This is the way America has always done business. What is he talking about? See, that's what I'm saying. Where you can't trust these people, man. These people are liars. When have we ever not been fighting? Right? And, you know, you have Roland Martin. Roland Martin, he's always the guard dog for the Democratic Party. You know, he doesn't criticize them in the manner in which he should, right? Because at the end of the day, it's only one racist party, and that's the Republicans if you leave it up to them, not the Democrats. When we go through the black communities that's Democratic ran, we see racism permeates all through the communities, right? Again, no Democratic president has ever signed an executive order for reparations, ever, right? Ever. They didn't even sign an executive order. Listen, when they was trying to get the John Lewis bill passed, there's no executive order in order to get those things passed. Because a lot of those things they don't want to pass, right? They want to keep you in a perpetual tailspin of trauma all day long because they on there just talking like this, especially Roland Martin.
You know, Mustafa, one of the things that I found to be very interesting, and I've listened to these folks, we shouldn't be asking this of these young athletes. And I got to remind people that the leadership of SNCC, the leadership that took place in the Black Freedom Movement, these were people who got kicked out of school because they joined. These are people who were 18, 19, and 20 years old. So I think it sounds ridiculous to say, oh, my God, these athletes are too young today when folks damn sure weren't too young who were on the front lines in the 60s.
Right. Yeah, without a doubt. And, you know, as a former college athlete, you know, my heroes were people like Harry Edwards over at San Jose State, you know, when he created that program, the Olympic Project program, and he was a really young person at that time. Let me just say it this way, there is a laundry list of black athletes, black college athletes over the years who have stood up against racism. Now, the question becomes, do we get behind them? Do we support them? Do we make sure that the mechanisms are in place if they decide to transfer schools or to go to, or to choose another school? We just got to make sure that all those pieces are in place.
So when you listen to these people talk and you think about this, right? First of all, in the 60s, it was a different spirit. It was a different, we were under overt oppression. We talking about the Birmingham bombing, 3 little girls. We talking about what was those the Jewish guy and the 2 black guys that got found in Mississippi. We talking about Medgar Evers being unalive. We're talking, just so many different things was happening down there in Selma, in the Carolinas, right, in Georgia. Right, there was so many things happening. So we were under overt oppression, and we were tired, and people was fighting for change. Right, there was riots in Chicago, Philadelphia, Newark, New Jersey. It was going down. Right, we now have been in 55 years of integration, and you guys out there have gotten comfortable. And the Democratic Party has taken our vote for granted. They have not introduced themselves to these young black boys in the communities that they're asking to come help save them now, because you always keep these people in trauma. Everything has to be in trauma. Everything is racism. Everything is the Republicans' fault. Nobody's answering my question that I keep asking. Who falls on the sword in the Democratic Party for allowing this to happen? Who was at the helm? Who dropped the ball? You get quiet. Right? And this is why you have black people talking like this.
There is a 5-alarm fire in the Democratic Party over what to do about black folks.
There's an old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Unfortunately for the Democratic Party, they've run out of time. Young voters have watched what has happened for generations and seen that promises are always made prior to the election and never kept. It took over 100 years for the Anti-Lynching Act, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, to get passed. They aren't willing to wait 100 years like their predecessors, like their forefathers. It's time for the Democratic Party to wake up, start living up to its promises, and start living up to its creed as the most diverse party, and understand that its most loyal voting bloc are sick and tired of them treating them like second-class citizens. Wake up, Democratic Party.
Black people aren't monolithic. Cool. So why does that logic magically disappear every election season? Every 4 years, we get lectured that all black people are supposed to vote the exact same way, support the exact same party, repeat the exact same talking points, and suppress any criticism for the greater good. That's not political empowerment. That's political hostage negotiations. Liberals need to stop pretending that criticizing Democrats automatically means somebody thinks Republicans are saving us or that you somehow are MAGA. Most foundational Black American critiques are not Republican endorsements. They are critiques of a political relationship where symbolic representation replaced structural repair. Because at some point, Black Americans have to ask, if we are always essential during the elections, why are our specific economic claims always told to wait until after the crisis is up? After Trump is out of office, after the democracy is saved, after the midterm elections, after we win the Senate, after we take back the Supreme Court, after inflation is gone down, after we stop Russia from invading Ukraine, after we get, Gaza as under control. After the next, wildfire, hurricane, or emergency, right? Meanwhile, everybody else somehow leaves the table with checks. They get carve-outs, they get political protections, policy protections, immigration prioritization, targeted spending on their communities, or industry-specific benefits. But the people whose labor literally built this country are told to be patient for another generation.
If you had to vote again, would you vote the way that you voted in the last election for the president? Would you still, if you're a person who identifies as a foundational Black American, would you still vote the way that you voted in the last presidential election? Because I am seeing a huge shift where the Democratic Party has shown its face to be an immigrant party. They use our struggles, they use our pain, they even use our verbiage. Hands up, don't shoot. No power, no peace. These are all things that I've heard out of the mouths of white liberal people screaming, being F-ICE and anything else that's against basically laws. They want a lawless society. And when Black Americans state that immigration is not our fight, because if we're being honest, the only reason why white people are so upset about immigration and everything like that is because now it's actually impacting them more than it ever has. And I'm not talking about the ones that are out there protesting against ICE. I'm talking about the ones who were all too happy to bring them over here as a replacement theory because Black Americans refuse to work for pennies on the dollar and still be enslaved on this land that we built. Because isn't it ironic that during the time period that Black Americans were seeking civil rights and we had our own towns, businesses, schools, and etc., is the very time that a mass amount of non-white immigrants came into our communities and all of a sudden from third world countries were able to set up businesses, get homes, get jobs, and get cars, and just amass a wealth. What we're seeing is a shift in the dynamic. White people brought them over here, and now they're pissed because now these people are on second and third generations, and they're closing the wealth gap with these individual people, whether it's through fraud or through legitimate acts of education and employment. One never knows. But these same liberal people were okay. They didn't care. They don't care about the impact that immigration has on the Black community. They didn't care about these people setting up shops in our homes and then feeding their money back to their home countries while our homes were dilapidated, while we weren't getting businesses and loans for them, while these people went to our HBCUs and they were taking up spaces for our actual Black American children. They didn't care about any of that.
I don't know why the voter ID is even a conversation when it comes to Black Americans here in the United States. Why would the Democrats think that it would be racist for people to ask Blacks for their ID when it comes to voting? To me, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Why? Because we need our ID for everything. You need your ID to apply for a job. You need your ID to drive. You need your ID to buy alcohol. You need your ID to register your kids in school. You need your ID when it comes to medical insurance. You need your ID for everything. All Americans, we need our ID. But suddenly when it comes to voting, all of a sudden it's hard for Black people to get an ID. All of a sudden it's hard for Black people to have access to internet. What? This all come from Democrats. All come from the Democrats. And you got the elites like Miss Sunny from The View, so-called advocating for people of color. It's so hard. It's so hard. No, it ain't. It's not hard for us. And y'all not slick. You are using this method for the illegals to vote. And you're using black people as your pawn, as your mascot for your hidden agenda to fight for these illegals in this country. As black people, we see you. Many of us are waking up. Many of us, not enough of us yet, but the ones who are waking up like myself, we see you. And that's why we're calling out your BS behavior. There is no savior for us besides Jesus Christ. There is no white savior. We don't need no Democrats speaking for the blacks. We don't need no white liberals speaking for the blacks. We don't need nobody speaking up for no one, because we are all our own individual. And the fact that you liberals, you Democrats, you elite people within that party still think that we are beneath you due to our skin color, due to your own ignorance towards blacks, we're calling out your behavior. And that behavior of yours is wicked and demonic on so many levels. And again, y'all wondering why? We ain't dealing with y'all. Black people can do anything as anyone can do in this world. God created us all. We are all made in his image. Amen. He created us all. And the fact that you all still trying to put black people in a box says a lot about you and your political party. But yet y'all claim the Republicans are the racist ones, when the truth is you, not them.
So all I'm saying is that the Democratic Party is leaking oil. They had their run and it's falling. It's time for some grassroots new voices to come out, right? Independent voices come out. And we're going to cast our vote to whoever meets the needs that we have for our communities. We're no longer just giving our vote away just because you're a Democrat. Those days are over. Right? Things change, right? And what my grandparents fought for in the Civil Rights Bills and the Voting Rights Act and Immigration Act and all those different things that were set in place, man, those were 60 years ago. The time has moved on, and now we're seeing that they're fighting to undo that. So now there has to be a new voice, a young voice come in, a change. You guys have failed. Y'all have done a horrible job. Either you're paid to sell the community out, or you're just inept in your job and you don't know what you're doing. And now you need younger people, you need younger voices to come out, man, to make the change that's desired. But y'all gotta let me know what y'all think about this, man. What do you think about these young people now starting to question the Democratic Party, right? Let me know what you guys think, right? Leave your comments in the comment section. Make sure you hit that like button. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time, peace.